Hello fellow hunchers, welcome to our safe space. This video is for all of you beautiful beings who can't seem to stand up straight. Those of us who look at those freaking yoga girls on Instagram with their super open chesty back bends and we wonder why, no matter how many times we fall into the mirror, we just can't get our backs into that shape. There is a reason for this, and that reason is every chair that has ever existed in the history of humanity. Seriously. I have yet to encounter a chair, be it a lazy boy, an airplane seat, a car seat, a $1,000 ergonomic Icelandic office chair. They're all shaped in a way that puts our spines in terrible positions. And we sit in these C-shaped, head-forward misery devices for pretty much all of our lives. And because of that, they have literally shaped our bones and modified our connective tissues to the point that we're hunched. It just is. So maybe you just have a little curve, or maybe it's become a bit more severe and you've developed a Dowager's hump. Whatever the incarnation of this upper back shape, the truth of the matter is that you're in pain. You can't not be in pain. Your shoulders hurt and your back is constantly tense and it probably goes numb at times throughout the day. Your neck hurts, you get headaches, eye strain, etc. And you always think, I just need to stretch. I just need to, stretch my back and shoulders. But the fact is that it may feel good and relieving in the moment to stretch your back muscles, but they're already chronically overstretched. So stretching them more isn't going to help. In fact, it's just going to perpetuate the issue. Your back muscles are probably so overstretched that they can't function like they're supposed to. So even when your back muscles contract as hard and get as short as they possibly can, it's probably not enough to bring your spine into a healthy shape. Being so overstretched and tight, these muscles also end up with inadequate blood flow, which means that sufficient oxygen and nutrient-rich blood can't make it to them, and their metabolic wastes aren't removed as efficiently, which leads to a buildup of acidic, pain-inducing junk. These muscles commonly develop what's referred to in bodywork as trigger points, and usually referred to by lay people as knots. They're hard, they're tender to the touch, and it can take a long time to get rid of them. So to improve this situation, we have to do a few things. First, we have to begin to strengthen the muscles of the back. That was covered in the last video. Second, we have to encourage more blood flow and help along the removal of metabolic wastes without further overstretching. We will cover that today. Number 3, we have to stretch and release the opposing muscles and begin to slowly mobilize the connective tissues that are holding your spine in this uncomfortable position. We're covering that today as well. And as we do this, I want you to remember that mobilization takes time. Not only because connective tissue, aka fascia, can be stubborn, but also because we have to wait for the overstretched, weak muscles to shorten and strengthen. And we have to wait the 6 or more months that it can take for our bones to slowly renovate and reshape based on the new stress patterns we're imposing through muscle development and mobilization. Also, we don't want to rush this, because if you suddenly stood up and your bones were mobilized and your connective tissue was loose, but you didn't have the corresponding muscular strength to support them, you could end up with joint injuries. So we'll go slow. We'll enjoy this. Let's get started. I'm going to start with the easiest and most important practice you can do. If you're a super busy wonder human who has to be very, very picky about which practices you're able to fit into your day, make sure this is one of them. I call it the Burrito Cactus. You'll want to be a Burrito Cactus for at least 10 minutes every day. I recommend doing this right before you go to sleep, as it is a very soothing and enjoyable way to transition for restful and rejuvenating sleep. To make your Burrito Cactus transformation, you have to do it on the floor though. Do not do it on the bed, as your spine needs to be supported by a hard, flat surface. You'll also need a firm towel or a blanket. The Mexican style blankets that you usually see at yoga studios are ideal, but you'll see that in this video I'm just using a large, thick towel. You'll need to roll your towel or blanket so that it has a 4 to 6 inch diameter before you're compressing it, and so that it is slightly wider than your body. This is your burrito. Lay it on the ground perpendicular to whatever direction you're going to be laying your body. Then lay yourself face up on top of it. Where it ends up underneath you is very important. So you want it just touching the very bottom tips of your scapula. For women, this is generally speaking known as your bra line. This will pop your chest up towards the sky, but your shoulders and neck will be able to rest on or very near the ground, hopefully fully supported. Bend your knees, feet come out to hips distance or wider, and simply let your knees fall inward. This should reduce any discomfort you may feel in the low back. Once there, bring your arms out at 90-degree angles from your body. Bend your elbows at 90 degrees. Palms face the ceiling. Snuggle your shoulder blades under your body, which will widen your collarbones and open your chest. Then gently press the back of your head into the floor and imagine someone is pulling a string attached to the crown of your head, elongating your spine from neck to tailbone. Now let go of that effort, untuck your chin ever so slightly, returning the gentle curve to your cervical spine. Stay here for 10 to 30 minutes. When you're done, slowly extend the legs, bring arms over your head and stretch your body out long. Then roll to one side and slowly push yourself into an upright position using your arms. Get up slowly to allow your blood pressure to return to normal. This simple practice, done consistently, will change your life. Next up is a little something I call blue balls. I honestly think I might die without my blue balls because using them is so effective at increasing blood flow and releasing metabolic wastes from your muscles. So for this practice, you're going to need 2 tennis balls or 2 racket balls of the exact same size. There are such things as specific trigger point balls, but in my opinion, the increased benefit of these products over other cheaper balls isn't significant enough to warrant their price tag. Even though I'm acutely aware of how much product sponsorship money I have just screwed myself out of, I have a conscience. Anyway, I prefer these balls because they are smooth and blue. So let's get this done. Place your balls evenly and gently on the middle of your mat or the floor, spaced approximately an inch apart. Then slowly lay yourself down on top of them with grace and dignity. Just kidding. That's impossible. So lay down and do your damnedest to finagle those little SOBs until they're about even on either side of your spine. Don't touch your spine with the balls. That will hurt like the dickens. You're aiming for the deep, fleshy grooves of muscle on either side of your spine. Those are several layers of hard-working muscle that can go inches deep on some people, while others only have a little bit of flesh there. So the amount of pressure that you're able to tolerate will be unique to you. Once you've got your blue balls in about the right place, you can slowly wiggle and push yourself up and down. You can go from the top of your lower back all the way to the base of your neck. You'll find spots that are really tight and sensitive. Those are the trigger points. Please remember that when we're working with trigger points, more pain is not gain. Treating these areas of ischemic muscle will hurt a little bit, but keep the pressure within the realm of good pain, or what my massage clients regularly call necessary pain. On a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being, doesn't hurt, and 10 being, oh my god, make it stop. The most therapeutic way to work these trigger points is at a 7 or an 8, where it's definitely uncomfortable, but you're still able to breathe normally and you're not wincing or bracing yourself against the pain. Long, slow holds are ideal, but only hold each spot for a minute or two at the very most. Then slowly roll to a different area and let those treated muscles rest for a few minutes at least. This will allow fresh blood to rush into those muscles and nourish them. Spend as much time as you want to on this practice. I assure you that you will never reach the bottom of the trigger point barrel. If you only have 5 minutes to give your back a quick once-over, that's great. If you want to spend half an hour slowly releasing the muscles all over your back and between your scapula, that sounds like a really lovely way to spend your morning or your evening. Unfortunately, this practice is not able to address the horrendous tension that most of us carry in our upper trapezius because the angles with the balls just don't work. For treating this area, I can recommend a marginally effective solution called a Theracane. It can help, but it's definitely not a miracle. This is the area that can generally be treated pretty effectively by massage therapists, as long as you find a massage therapist that's not lazy or virtually incompetent and actually knows how to treat the upper trapezius, which actually is a miracle. To be perfectly honest, you'd probably get a better outcome from offering a hobo $10 to repetitively squeeze your traps for 10 minutes. Anyway, I do want you to be aware that as these trigger points are initially treated and the lactic acid and other wastes that are stuck inside these muscles are liberated, it can hurt. It releases a lot of neurotransmitters that are interpreted as pain by your nervous system. It's called, and I'm not making this up, substance P in actual scientific literature. This was me during trigger point class of massage school. Is there a more legitimate name for it that doesn't, sound like we got it from Spider-Man? Apparently not. So my point is, you may feel worse before you feel better. The key is to go slow. Don't push yourself past your pain threshold, and understand, again, that we're in this for the long haul, and your body will take a while to change shape. These trigger points will take a while to resolve. As with all of these practices, the most important ingredients are consistency and patience. To be perfectly honest, if you just did these two practices regularly for the rest of your life, you would be better off than 95% of the population. But there are several more practices that I will share with you right now, just in case you want to speed up your results. Next up is Doorway to Heaven. Two of the primary reasons that most people have their shoulders chronically wrapped around their bodies are tight pectorals. This is why when smart yogis do back bends, they understand that 90% of the prep work for a safe back bend is opening the chest and shoulders. The chest and shoulders are the gateways to spinal health. I'm not exaggerating. But you don't have to do a ton of complicated yoga. In fact, it's kind of embarrassing how simple this practice is. Anyway, I call this one Doorway to Heaven because I do this stretch in a doorway because it gives me the best grip. But you can literally do this stretch anywhere on any stationary, relatively straight, ground perpendicular object. So stand in a doorway, shoulders and elbow joints at 90 degrees. Put your forearm against the edge and slowly turn your body to get a stretch. Don't push like crazy, and do this with integrity by pressing your shoulder blade forward into your ribs and pulling it down your back. Firmly planting that shoulder blade will activate the muscles of your shoulder. And watch that chin. No chin jutting forward here. We are practicing better posture, so lengthen your crown towards the ceiling, gently untuck that chin, and activate your low belly. You can raise your forearm slightly to change the angle of the stretch, but there's no need to get too extreme or creative with it. Just hold this stretch for a few minutes, increasing the amount that you're able to turn. If it feels like your pec is opening, then do the other side, and bingo, you're done. Which brings us to our next practice. Praised be to mobile shoulders. I want to work on the shoulders a little bit more because let us not forget that frozen shoulder, aka adhesive capsulitis, is a real thing that happens to middle-aged people all across the world. and I don't want it. I don't want you to have it either. So grab a yoga strap or a belt or a dish towel or a broomstick. Essentially, any long object besides an excuse will work for you. Hold one end in each hand in front of you. I like to go nice and wide because a thinner grasp doesn't make you a better or more accomplished person. Jennifer, I see you trying to overachieve this and you're gonna hurt yourself. So breathe in, nice wide grasp, arms come up, exhale, drop your arms back behind you. Try to keep your crown nice and tall to stop that chin from jutting forward. Also, as easy as it is to do, try not to forget about your core. Nice tight core keeps your lower back from swaying. Find your sweet spot on your object where you feel a really enjoyable stretch through your pecs and shoulders without feeling pain. And do this back and forth about a dozen times, following your breath if you want to go to level 2. You might be able to move your grip a little closer together to stay in your sweet spot as your shoulders loosen, but again, it doesn't make you a better person. So still using that towel or broom or whatever you're holding, bring it behind your back. Hold on to it with your palms facing forward, thumbs pointing out to the sides. Use your object as leverage to squeeze your shoulder blades together and pull them down your back, opening the chest, widening your collarbones, and giving you a beautiful stretch. Crown reaches for the ceiling, core firms to elongate your lower back just slightly. If you're flexible enough, you can drop your object and simply clasp your hands together behind your back. But the integrity of your spine and shoulders is more of an achievement than being flexible enough to bind your hands. As you stand tall, focus on trying to bring the elbows together, which finishes our standing practices. Next is my arm under chest tuck because I couldn't figure a clever name for that one. The purpose of this practice is to open the chest and encourage a very specific opening and shape in your thoracic spine, i.e. the upper back, i.e. the vertebra of your spine that have ribs attached to them. I recommend trying to do this one only after you've been practicing Burrito Cactus and worked with some of the other active standing chest openers for a few days at least. So a common issue that people bump into when they're trying to specifically mobilize the upper spine is that someone hears the cues of a back bend or they want to stretch backwards in some way. And in an effort to achieve that or create the most dramatic shape possible, they hyperextend their necks and lower backs instead of encouraging openness through the entire spine. This is due to decreased mobility in the upper spine as well as the natural anatomy of our vertebra. The thoracic vertebra's spinous processes point downward, which inhibits excessive extension of the upper back. It is a feature that is not found on the neck or lower back vertebra, which allows those parts of the spine to deeply bend backwards or extend. So the amount that we're able to back bend through the upper back is naturally limited, and we should respect that limitation while also being kind to our lower backs and necks, which are naturally more vulnerable to disc herniations because of their hyperflexibility. That's why muscular strength, body awareness, and integrity in your movement practices are so important. So for this practice, you will be laying face up on the floor, feet on the ground. Lift your butt a few inches and scoot your arms underneath you. I like to first clasp my hands and use that as leverage to pull my arms further under my body by rolling my shoulders under my chest. If you're currently not flexible enough to clasp your hands, no worries. Just snug your arms and shoulders under you as best as you can to create a lift in your chest. Be cautious with your neck as you do this. You want to keep it elongated, not drop your head back and put a big kink in the neck. Once my arms and shoulders are tucked beneath me, I let go of the clasp of my hands and lay my palms flat on the floor under my butt. I prefer to straighten my legs, but if you have lower back sensitivities, keep your knees bent, feet wide, knees falling in. Now check in with your neck and do your best to maintain a neutral, slight cervical curve. Once my low back and my neck are happy and taken care of, I like to specifically focus on very gently grounding my elbows as I elongate my spine, which encourages my collarbones to gently spread and gives my thoracic spine some traction. We're not going for a back bending in the thoracic spine. We are simply and gently encouraging your upper back to slowly get used to being in a less hunched shape. Because remember, it's natural for your thoracic spine to have a slight forward curve. We're not trying to reverse that natural curve. That could cause injury. We're just trying to exert a little bit of gentle stress on your bones to activate your bone remodeling cells to reshape them and accommodate a better, more upright posture. So don't expect super fast results from this. It takes time, months in fact, so be patient. And focus on that long-term patience as you hang out in this shape for, 2 to 5 minutes, however long feels beneficial. I do have one more practice that I recommend, which isn't really a structured practice. So the first massage therapist that I ever saw got really frustrated with me and my chronically tight shoulders. She kept saying to me, "Relax, relax." And I'd be like, "Bitch, I am." And she'd be like, "You need to move your body." And I'd be like, "I do yoga and ride my bike everywhere. Duh." And she was like, "Yeah, but when you do those movements, they're like very structured movements and they don't utilize the full range of motion that's allowed to your shoulders." And I was like, "Go on." And she was like, "There's this class called Nia, and basically you just go and you like dance to this music with other people and you make whatever movements you want. It's super fun." And I was like, "That sounds like the third circle of hell. I'm not doing it." Long story short, I didn't do it. I never went to that god-awful sounding class because one, dancing in front of other people outside of ballroom or hip-hop booty grind dancing is something that I have never and will never do because my body rejects it on a cellular level. Two, watching other people who usually smell like rank BO, just BT dubs, dance intuitively or ecstatically burns my eyes. I am judgmental, whatever. But I did take her advice. In the privacy of my own home, I let my body move however it wanted. I channeled my inner bird. I pretended I was a kung fu master. I spun in circles. I imagined what it would be like to have jelly arms. And to be honest, it helped immensely. It got blood flowing, it loosened and lubricated my joint capsules. It introduced me to my body in a new and deeper way. And after having, gotten in touch with my inner silly dancing self, now when someone actually asks me to dance in public, I now feel so liberated and so comfortable in my own body that I still leave the premises immediately. I don't want to dance. I've told you that 1,000 times. Stop asking me and let it go. Seriously. Okay, my beautiful slouchy friends. This is a great place for you to start your mobilization journey. Keep it simple, keep it sustainable, keep it consistent. And until next time, make better choices for yourselves. No one will do it for you, and take really, really good care. I will see you all in future episodes of the posture series and beyond. Bye.